Hello, in this video I want to share with you some audio from an episode I did for a podcast called Code Ohio. The episode is about an unsolved murder case out of Columbus, Ohio. Law enforcement still needs any tips that they can get. Stacey's family and friends needs everyone's help. I am looking for anyone who might have known Stacey and knows this case who might want to come onto a podcast and talk about it. I can be emailed at miopodcast@outlook.com. Another way you can help is to share this episode. Let others know that Stacey has not been forgotten.
So we got a killer on a run in Ohio.
The unsolved murder case that I'm going to talk about in this episode is listed as an unsolved case out of Delaware County on the Ohio Attorney General website. However, I believe it should also be listed as an unsolved case out of Columbus and Franklin County, Ohio. This case would start as a missing persons case out of Columbus in 1998. Then it would become a Delaware County case because the human remains found in Delaware County in 2004. This is a case where two different law enforcement agencies need to work together. Back in 1998, 23-year-old Stacey Colbert had been working as a marketing assistant for American Electrical Power Company in Columbus. She had been with the company for 6 months, so she would have started with the company in 1997. A year prior, Stacey had graduated from Ohio State University with a bachelor's degree in marketing. Stacey was a member of the Alpha Delta Pi sorority. Stacey was white with long dark brown curly hair. She was 5'1" in height and around 130 pounds. She had brown eyes. She was born on February 3rd of 1975. Stacey had an apartment at Governor Square Apartments, north of Ohio State University. This would be on Minutemen Court, which is like a side street. It sounds like Stacey was creating a good start for herself in her young life. In March of 1998, there had been a few days where Stacey's family had no contact with her. This would have been around March 20th through the 24th. At some point, Stacey's mom had gotten a call from Stacey's employer at American Power Company. The call was to check up on Stacey because Stacey had not been to work for a couple of days. The fact that Stacey did not show up to work and that no one had been able to contact Stacey was a red flag for Stacey's mom. Stacey's mom would go over to her daughter's apartment. This would only create more questions than answers. Stacey's car would be found out front of the apartment building. Stacey's apartment door was slightly opened. When Stacey's mom had gone inside, she noticed clothes that had been thrown around. The refrigerator door was open, and there was a half a box of breadsticks on the counter. Stacey was not at the apartment. Stacey's mom left the apartment, and at some point during the day of March 24th of 1998, the Columbus Police Department would get a call from a woman reporting that her 23-year-old daughter was missing. The Columbus Police Department would start to look into the disappearance of Stacey Colbert. This would be a missing persons investigation. The Columbus Police Department did not see any signs of a homicide taking place in the apartment. Stacey's keys, purse, and credit cards had been found at the apartment, so there was no signs of a robbery taking place. Why would a 23-year-old lady leave her apartment without her things and leave the door unlocked? Law enforcement would interview a lot of people during their investigation into the disappearance of Stacey. It is said that Stacey's sister had got interviewed by the police for 3 hours. I don't understand why 3 hours. I did forget to mention that Stacey's cat had escaped out the open door. A person who lived at the apartment building was questioned by police. I believe this person lived in an apartment above Stacey's. That person said that they were woken up around 4 a.m. on March 22nd by what that person thought was a female screaming. This person also heard loud banging. This had gone on for some time. That person never called the police or checked on who was doing the screaming. Around 2 p.m. that day, that person went to Stacey's apartment to check up on her. The apartment door was cracked open and Stacey's cat was waiting by the door. So why did that person decide not to call law enforcement and report that they thought they heard a female screaming and that Stacey's door was left open? This would have been something to report to the police when it happened, considering the fact that Stacey would be reported missing a couple days later. The Columbus Police Department would also interview a pizza delivery man. They interviewed the pizza delivery man because of the half-eaten box of breadsticks that was on Stacey's counter. This pizza delivery guy would be the last known person to see Stacey. The pizza delivery man said that he had delivered the box of breadsticks to Stacey's apartment on March 21st of 1998. This would have been around 6 in the evening. The delivery man said that he felt as though someone else was inside the apartment with Stacey. So if Stacey was not alone, who was in the apartment with Stacey? Was it a friend, a family member, or a lover? Law enforcement could not find anything that would lead them to Stacey Colbert. In 1998, the Columbus Police Department would have a law to deal with as it concerns to missing person cases. In 1998, 480 people would be reported missing to the Columbus Police Department. I don't know if Stacey's case got lost in the shuffle with all the other missing person cases, but Stacey's case into her disappearance will remain open for 6 years. For that 6 years, this case would only be treated as a missing person case, nothing else. Now let's move forward to the year of 2004, and let's talk about Delaware County. Delaware County sits on the northern part of Franklin County. It is the next county north of Columbus. Delaware County has smaller cities than Franklin. There is no real big city feeling. State Route 257 runs north and south through Delaware County. State Route 257 is on the western part of the county. Somewhere on State Route 257, a hunter was out looking for his dog. I'm not sure if he was in a field or a wooded area. This would have been on November 27th of 2004, so a few days after Thanksgiving. The hunter was out walking near the riverbank. The hunter noticed something under some tree limbs and debris. The man called law enforcement. Delaware County Sheriff's Department would go out to the scene and find bones, which ended up being human bones. Law enforcement would spend 2 to 3 days trying to recover as many bones as they could find, which was only about 70%. That 70% was all found in the same general area. The bones were identified by dental records. The human bones belonged to 23-year-old Stacey Colbert from Columbus. The cause of death could not be determined. The date of Stacey's death also is something that the coroner could not determine. Delaware County had a murder investigation to deal with, and they were starting 6 years after Stacey's disappearance. An officer had said that Delaware County sometimes seems like a body dumping ground for its surrounding counties. Stacey's dad unfortunately died without seeing any justice handed down for the murder of his daughter. The coroner could not determine the cause of death. The coroner would only be able to really look at the bones and look for marks on the bones. They would have looked for marks that would have been left by a knife or a bullet. Apparently there were no marks. That still doesn't mean that Stacey was not stabbed or shot. It just means that nothing had hit the bone. If Stacey had been strangled or suffocated in some kind of a way, then it would be unable to be determined with just bones. How did Stacey get to Delaware County? Who was in Stacey's apartment March 21st and into the morning hours of March 22nd? This is not a case of a robbery. Was it a lover or someone who liked Stacey, but Stacey not share the same feelings? There's nothing that would point to any kind of a drug problem. Everything shows that Stacey had her life together for the most part. I have to say that the neighbor who heard the female screaming and did nothing about it doesn't sit right with me. This case definitely has a lot of unanswered questions. If you know anything about the Stacey Colbert unsolved case, please contact the Delaware County Sheriff's Department. If you are from the Delaware County or Columbus area, please share this episode with everyone that you know. This is how we all can get these unsolved cases heard and not forgotten. Thank you for watching this video. If you would like to see more information about Stacey's case, go to Facebook and check out the page Finishing Stacey's Fight. If you have any crucial information about this case, please contact law enforcement. If you knew Stacey or know this case and like to talk about it, please contact me at miopodcast@outlook.com. Once again, thank you for watching. I am Bill Swafford, and this has been Murderers in Ohio.